Tivoli Foundation Gala presents Charlie Crockett, Friday, November 8th at Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Auditorium. Tickets on sale now at TivoliChattanooga.com.
Okay, how about a ghost story or two on this Halloween morning? Most people know about the rumors of the haunted room at the Reed House, but there are so many other places around town where people swear they have experienced paranormal activity. So we decided that we would turn to Jason Tinney, who is with Chattanooga Ghost Tours, to send some chills down our spines this morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for having us.
So a lot of places where we could start, right? I mean, Chattanooga is full of rumored ghost hauntings.
It's considered to be one of the most haunted cities in the Southeast.
You are a history lover, so this is a perfect blend for you.
Yeah, I always start a tour by saying I love a good ghost story and I love history, and you can't have one without the other.
I guess part of what we're lucky with too here in Chattanooga is that we have the history and we still have the historic buildings. We're lucky to have that.
We do have a number of historic buildings, so yeah, we are lucky to have that landscape.
So, okay, let's talk about the landscape. That'll send us off into this conversation, because part of our landscape not everybody is familiar with, and that's underground Chattanooga. People experience some things on these ghost tours there.
Yeah, so the story behind underground Chattanooga is that there is this theory that during the late 1800s and early 1900s, because of the floods before the dam system was put on the river, because of the floods, that people started to build on top of the city. So there are these underground rooms that used to be first floors that are now basements. You have these sort of swaths of mysterious tunnels that run underneath, particularly along Broad Street. There's a swath of tunnels. So it's interesting. There's a site that we go that is actually a parking lot. And when you enter the parking lot, it goes down a hill, and then what you do is you get to the original street level of Chattanooga. People started building anywhere between 5 and 20 feet above. So in this one particular site that we visit, there is the original limestone. In the paranormal world, limestone is thought to be a conductor for ghosts, like a recording device.
Really?
And because of the geological makeup of these stones, it's able to absorb what are known as residual energies or hauntings.
Okay.
And they spin around. So anyway, people will come down to this site and they'll feel a heaviness on their chest. They'll get a stomach ache out of nowhere. They'll get a migraine headache. But when they go back up to today's street level, all that phenomena goes away. Animals get really affected. Dogs get really spooked out down there.
So people will bring their dogs sometimes?
Oh yeah, we're
on these
dog-friendly
tours?
walking tour, yes.
Is this the one where you told me too that people's cell phones?
Yeah, another weird thing is too, like if this parking lot is on Chestnut Street, and they might enter the parking lot with 75% on their cell phone, the battery charge. But when they get down to that original street level, for whatever reason, it zaps down to 0. They go back up to Chestnut Street, and it bounces back up to 75%.
Okay, so these ghost tours are intended to be a walking tour.
They are a walking tour, yes.
You can have 20 people or so or more.
Yeah, anywhere, you know, we cap out generally at 25, but we make accommodations for larger groups.
Okay, so let's go from the underground spot, and then where you're going to take us to the sanitarium.
The sanitarium.
That word in and of itself is a creepy word.
Yeah, it is. You know, we talk about tunnels. I have the feeling that a tunnel makes every ghost story better. Mm-hmm. But there is an old abandoned sanitarium it's downtown Chattanooga, and it started off as a sanitarium, which was a medical facility and a psychiatric hospital. It was an old Victorian structure that was torn down, and then a new building was constructed. This building now is abandoned, and it is on our tour, and it's the place where people get really visceral reactions to, myself included. Now, I've been doing the tour for 4 years, so it takes a little bit to push me into to Spooky Town.
Yeah.
So this place consistently makes me feel uneasy. Nothing's ever touched me or anything like that. It's just the vibration that the building gives off, and people react to it. It's the place where if you're a skeptic, generally you might be like, well, maybe.
So when you're on the tour and you reach this part, you're kind of setting up the scene for people as they go, right? So that when they get there, you don't tell them too much because you want them to experience it for themselves.
That's the one spot that I don't do a lead up on. I just sort of like come upon it and people are like, whoa.
Oh, really?
You know, and then I go, then I sort of segue into say, you know, I tell them, I say, I'll let you know. And then because I try to have a good time with my guests on the tour. But I get serious and I say, listen, this is the place that makes me feel weird. And so I let that one speak for itself.
Okay, let's get to the Reed House.
The Reed House.
That's a legend. You know it's a true legend if you're going to put it on your website, and you have a drink named after it, right?
Right. The owners of the Reed House have done a great job of putting their own brand on that hotel, but also really paying homage to the history of it, and they have sort of embraced the legend of this ghost that haunts that
So
hotel.
it's room 311.
Room 311.
The way I understand it, you are not going to ever get room 311 unless you ask for it upon checking in.
Yeah, around in October, there's a couple nights during the month of October that they rent the room, including Halloween.
Okay, and the ghost, Annalisa
Netherly.
does not like men. Is what I've heard. Okay, so tell us the story, because you've had a personal experience, like your own spooky feeling.
Well, the legend of the story is, and there's like, Annalise is one of those kind of legends that there's 100 different variations of it. But the one that basically is that a woman was murdered in room 311 in the bathroom, and she was found in the bathtub. So January of 2023, we do something called the Deluxe Tour on Sunday nights. January of 2023, very cold night. Nobody was really on the streets of Chattanooga, so it was doubly spooky. The Deluxe Tour, I take the guest into the lounge and they can get a drink. That's part of the Deluxe. And I only had 2 guests that particular night. Nobody in the bar, just the bartender, slow at the hotel. Staff member comes over and says, listen, we're really slow. Would you all like to go up and see 311? Yes, we would. You go in the room and there's a parlor, there's a bedroom, and to the left of the bedroom is that bathroom. So my 2 guests and the staff member, they go into the bathroom. I'm the caboose. I place my boot down on the threshold, and I feel what I could only describe as a blanket of rippling, pulsating electricity. Not electricity, but something like that. Just moving from my toes through my legs. When it gets to my midsection, I bounce off the doorway. When I bounce off the doorway, it goes away. And it really startled me. I'm not a medium, I'm not a sensitive. But it really, really kind of unhinged me. And the people in the bathroom, they haven't seen what's happened to me, so they turn around and they're like, you gonna come in the bathroom? No.
So now, was this your first time to be in room 311?
It was my first time.
Okay.
People ask me, have you been in room 311? And sometimes I don't tell that story. Sometimes I'll just say, yeah, once.
Once is enough.
Just once.
So the people who were in the bathroom already, were they men or women?
They were women.
See, that's part of the
She doesn't
lore.
like men. Yeah.
Well, we like you.
Oh, I appreciate
So thank
that.
you for sharing some time with us this morning.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You can hear more of Jason's stories than he was able to share with us this morning. If you want to book a tour, ChattanoogaGhostTours.com. They are doing some tonight, so even though it is kind of late, check it out. They may have some spots available, but then anytime throughout as the season goes along, they'd be happy to welcome you on the tour. Thank you.
Thank you.
West Yellowknife Trading Post has everything under the sun. Train scratch and dent heat pumps, 2 ton for only $26.90. Fujitsu split heat pumps, 2.5 ton, only $24.50. Don't pay big box prices. But hurry, limited quantities available. You better get it when you see it at West Yellowknife.
You wake up, clock in, and put in a hard day's work. But what happens when an ordinary workday takes a turn for the worse?